All right, so I'm here with Jen. This is Jason.
God.
I'm here with Jen from Green Beret Foundation.
Okay.
And she was just about to tell me, no gum. There you go. Got it. I'm just put that on my box of Lone Star. We're just drinking beer.
We do not drink at the
Come and take it.
No.
Oh wait, I gotta get reversed. Come and take it, right? I got Jen's gum in my right hand. I got come and take it
You know your friends
in my left.
When
And I just sort of put it on there.
you're an animal.
That's good. So she was just about to tell me this story
About what?
about why we're so happy this flag is in the
Our flag.
frame. Yeah.
Okay, so this flag right here.
Yes.
Wait, yeah, this flag. Well, that flag actually. So the story went is that my husband got blown up in Afghanistan. That's a story.
That's a story. We'll
That's
talk
the end
about
of it. No. And they were going to send me back his stuff, and they did. It was full of dirt and magazines, and that's pretty much it. There was supposed to be a flag in there. They were going to send me a flag back, but they never did. Well, and I'm trying to remember all the details of this flag, like how everything.
You're probably
went.
trying to forget them too a little bit.
Not this flag
No?
particularly, because it has to do with the GORUCK community. And Rich Haas and some of the guys that were my cadres, and I really hated them. But they ended up auctioning this flag. I think it raised like $4,000. But then they heard about it, that I hadn't got this flag, and the guy that won it, Justin Evo, he bought it, gifted it to me. So it was very special to me. So it's connected to GORUCK. It's connected, it's just, I love it. That's all. And it has a little thing on the bottom, see, where it was flown. First
So
room.
ODA 1336, OAF 11, Ghanzi Province.
Is that 11 or is that
21.
Yeah, exactly. You should stop drinking.
Roman numerals. No, it's not that. It's just, Jen, I didn't go to school in Rome. Went to school in the United States of America.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's good to see you. So here's the backstory. I'm here for a Green Beret Foundation Board of Directors meeting, and Jen's one of my favorite people on the planet. We've always fought like brother and sister. It's always been awesome.
Yes.
We've always loved each other.
But you always know that I'm there for you.
Yeah, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So let's deal with the sort of foundation of this, which is, what is the Green Beret Foundation? Let's start with that. What is the Green Beret Foundation?
What is the Green Beret Foundation? We went through this whole professional evaluation and marketing project. Were you here through that whole thing? I mean, you were kind of here, but were you?
No, I was critical of the project.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You always are.
The picture of the guy in the water with the.
I don't like any of that, so don't let me into that crap. Okay. But we went through this, and we have messaging and what have you, but I still don't think it does this justice, and it's not because it's me. It's because what the GBF has evolved into, which is, I don't want to say we're insurance but we take care of Green Berets and their families.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So what is a Green Beret?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Special Forces.
I'm asking you because.
Are you quizzing me now?
You are.
It's a seal.
You are a. It's a seal.
Yeah.
Oh, Jen.
I'm sorry.
I love this seal, so I won't say anything.
I have friends that are seals too.
So what's the Green Beret is the first two words of what you live and breathe. So what you're married to a Green Beret, you're like you're very much entrenched in the community. You're in from my perspective, you're a pillar within the community of Army Special Forces, which is the Green Berets. And so what is a Green Beret to you?
First off, I'm glad this is being recorded, that you said something nice like that. Thank you. The funny thing is, irony is that I never even wanted to do any of this. Like I had an apartment at Fort Bragg, and then I had my career at Intel, and I never fully moved. Now look at me, because I was letting my husband do his thing, and I was going to be supportive of him. I didn't need to live at Fort Bragg full time. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
now look at me.
I lived that life too.
Look at me now, Mom. No hands. What was the question?
What's a Green Beret?
What's a Green Beret? A Green Beret, First off, it's a hat. It's a presidential award that was given by President Kennedy. Early 60s, 1961, 62. Oh my God, I'm losing it.
I was going to say 62. But...
No. Well, how come you don't know?
I don't know, because the picture's not hanging in here. It should be.
It should be. I have one. It's going to be framed. Okay, we're in this new office. It's the only headgear that is a presidential award. And it is a badge. It's a distinction.
So what does the Green Beret community mean to you? So Army Special Forces basically is... it's the only force within the military that's trained in unconventional warfare, right? So that means by, with, and through local forces in order to achieve a broader mission set. So as opposed to, because look, we at GORUCK in the universe, we have all sorts of different people that don't know everything. And we're all about building a bridge between the military and the civilian worlds, right? So if you say, look, there's all kinds of missions out there within the military, within special operations, and you say, look, it's fine to send guys in to go and neutralize, we'll say that, a high-value target or someone, a bad dude, right? That's great. It's sort of like the head on the Hydra snake. It's always going to pop up again. And so what Green Berets are about is sort of community building and building rapport with locals and using that infrastructure in order to build a better outcome for what your mission is. And it's why Green Berets Army Special Forces have been so overused or so aggressively used since 9/11 is because we're really effective. And so the role of the Green Beret Foundation is to support that community. And I'll let you take it from here.
Yes, we support the community. I've said this before in these talks I do, but you guys are professional soldiers. It's a profession. It's a lifestyle. Okay, so with that, there's a lot of burden, and the families feel it, and so we take care of the families. Any gap that may come up that is a legitimate gap, we look at it. And
so what does that gap look like, right? So Army Special Forces, I mean, look, I'm not here to beat the VA up. I'm not here to beat up the system. You know, from the standpoint of, look, I have some friends that work at the VA. They're really smart people and all these things, and they signed on later in the last few years, and they show up every day and they get their teeth punched in, and they do it because they love America and they want
What do you mean teeth punched in?
So every day they show up, and the VA has not been, it's been an easy place to sort of batter, right, in the last few years.
Oh, I'm tracking. Because, because they have not done what they're supposed to be doing.
For every single person that's out there. And so, you know, there turns into a press nightmare here and there.
Yeah.
So look, I'm not here to say the VA is perfect. I'm not here to say they're terrible either. I'm just here to say, regardless, there are always additional needs for our community. And so what does that look like?
And organizations like the VA, they are bureaucratic systems and they don't move fast, okay? So you're not going to turn the steamship, although we are seeing a lot of changes, lots of improvements now. But one thing about a 501c3 and the GBF...
Come and take it says, right? Look at that. I got the
I do not
Lone Star beer in the great state of Texas, which is where we are right now.
Yes, we are.
They've got these awesome, badass cans that say, come and take it on them.
He's drinking at the GBF.
This is amazing.
Just does whatever the hell he wants. Anyway, so what was I saying?
Anything to honor the guys. Anything to honor the guys.
Yes, anything to honor the guys. A lot of advocacy. I could give you examples, but you're going to interrupt me or no? Okay. So the VA is what it is. Okay, it's a bureaucratic system. We are 501c3, not-for-profits were built to be agile, I guess is the word I'm thinking. They move, they're gray, they can do things that the government institutions cannot. And that's what they're for. That's why they were set up. So we can do things quickly. We can pursue alternative therapies. Our guys are very injured. You know, we see polytrauma all the time. I mean, that's kind of old news compared to what we the stuff that we do now with transition and different things like that. We take care of the families through a lot of our family support. We have a lot of gold stars. We take, I don't think it's a secret, I take this gold stars very seriously.
So define what a gold star is.
A gold star is a family that has given a service member in our country in battle.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
I don't like to use the word lost. A lot of people use lose, but that's their choice, especially if it's their person. But I don't feel like we lose anything. Like we give.
It feels like a loss, though.
It is, but it's not, because I don't like losing. I know.
I don't like losing.
I'm just saying. Anyway, so we take care of our gold stars. We were actually told to kind of stay away from the gold stars when we first started. I remember actually one particular time, and I just feel like I wasn't going to do that, partially because I'm kind of stubborn, but I feel like
kind of.
What type of person am I if I don't allow them the opportunity to reject? Do you know what I mean? What if they don't reject? And they haven't. I mean, so many haven't. And even if they do reject, a lot of times they come back. They have to go through their process of their grieving process. It never goes away. But eventually, I'm telling you, these gold stars, their sons or, or husbands or what have you, their fathers, birds of a feather. There's a reason, and these families come back, and they're just amazing. It sounds dramatic, but most of these families, they start raising money for the GBF. And my point is that I pull them in so close is because there's ways to keep the name alive by doing things through the GBF. We've built a brand, and let's get the names out there. We always want those names to stay alive. We want to celebrate the names in a way that, because we love these guys. And we got to stay committed to it. So they do a lot for us.
So you guys lived through a lot of the worst.
Who me? Yeah.
I mean, GBF, right?
Yeah,
you get a lot of really bad phone calls. Get a lot of really bad, and
we do.
It's never. It's not easy work, and so this is sort of a hard question. You answer it in whatever detail you want. But what does it look like when you get one of those hard calls? What does, personally and professionally, you get a call that says, a couple Green Berets have fallen in Niger, or you get a call that says a couple Green Berets have fallen in Afghanistan, or you get a call that says, someone's traumatically wounded or severely wounded. Like, what does the process look like within GBF?
So for the most part, there's a lot that goes on. There's formal processes, which we're notified, but a lot of times, honestly, it's our internal community that gives us a heads up so that we can start putting things in place. And we do it very methodically. It's very mechanical. A lot of times we know who the people are, which is the hard part. But we put those things in a box, those ideas and those thoughts in a box, and put them aside, because this has to be taken care of. It's not about us either, because I'm going to tell you right now, it might be personal to me, but I'm going to tell you there's somebody else that it's much more personal to.
It's always personal.
Yeah, it's always personal. We have, we've done it. Unfortunately, fortunately, we've done it a lot. So we kind of know how to do that stuff.
So what exactly does it look like, though? Right?
What does it look like?
Okay. So you get a phone call, and then what does the triage from the back-end support look like? And you can here's an example of whom we've helped, or obviously it all takes money.
Okay.
But you have to sort of support. What does that sort of support look like?
Okay, I'm going to go through the process.
Okay? Do it.
Okay, guy gets blown up, is alive, blown up, medevaced out. Right? What's going to happen is, we're going to probably get an informal communication. But then on the back end, if we get it through, a lot of times through our website, which we have set up, it's very automated. It's the whole thing. I'm a process person. It's automated. It comes in. We start gauging the whole situation. It can come in, most of the time it comes in from SOCOM, to be honest with you, because we've built those relationships down at SOCOM. That's where I started this work. Those poor people. they probably are like still like, what the hell? Why did I ever hire her? But anyway, they still, we still work very closely with them. They're great. Sometimes we get it from the teams too, to be honest with you, that we're training the guys to know how to submit a request as quickly as possible. And it comes into us, and then we know we're very small here. Okay. Yeah. Like very small.
So you get a request and then what?
Then we evaluate it and start doing what we do. It's really hard for me to point. Sometimes maybe somebody needs a nanny because a wife needs to be at the bedside.
Who can't relate to that?
Yeah, I have interviewed nannies as if they were for my own child. I would never recommend anybody unless I would do it for my own child. And then we go there and we pay for it, whatever's going to relieve the burden. And sometimes they don't know what they don't know, okay? Because these situations get very stressful, moving parts. And the Green Beret is one thing. It's very stressful. We don't know what's going on. But you still have these other things that have to be taken care of, like children, dogs. We board dogs. We have to take care of what needs to be taken care of that's important to this family. I mean, it's very elementary, but whatever is important to the family or to the Green Beret to get those people to the bedside.
Yeah, so you said something that really resonated, which is you don't know what you don't know. But the thing is that we at Green Beret Foundation, after almost a decade, or is it a decade yet?
Next year.
Next year it's a decade.
But we've been doing this even before this.
We've been doing this, right? And so we can anticipate what the needs are. And this is not some huge condemnation of Mother Army or anything. It's just to say that the Green Beret Foundation is more agile and more nimble for our community.
And we do push the limits on what we do for our community too. Like, if it's a legitimate need, it is far. I just don't know what we would decline, to be honest with you. I don't want to say, oh, it's a blank check. It's not. We're very careful and we watch the money. But if it's a legitimate need, the thing is, our community don't ask. Yeah. That's part of the thing, That was part of the struggle at first. We couldn't get people to, let us support. But generally, we support. We're dealing right now with it's terrible, but our dear friend his son has taken his life, and people don't understand that that's a Green Beret and that's his son. It's our job. We're getting in there and doing this from whatever comes with that. Just it can be anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So Green Berets are real people. Real things happen. I'm not here, and I'm never going to dispel the sort of myth of the Green Berets, the mystique, rather, of the Green Berets. These are not the droids you're looking for. That's us. Right? We're great. But Jen's like, hey, I know too many of you guys. It's not exactly how it works, right? But my point is that when it comes down to it, you show up at the end of your day's work and you go home, and guess who's the boss? It's not you anymore. It's your wife, your family. It's that kind of an existence, which a lot of guys, a lot of people in general can relate to. And to that end, a lot of normal everyday life problems come up. And look, that's sort of outside the scope. And then you have the traumatic injuries thrown on top of it, which are very much service related. And, we're just chatting with a Green Beret showed up tonight. He spared me from this meeting. There was this HR guy that showed up to help with some things. He was a kind soul, but he was probably a bad fit for helping Green Beret Foundation move forward. And anyway, I saw a guy walk through the window, he did not walk through the window. I saw a guy walk past through the window. He walked past the window into the foyer, because we have a foyer. We have a foyer now, and I'm like, I got to go meet with this guy. I could tell he was an SF guy.
You're carrying your beer thing.
Yeah, there was no. Actually, I wasn't carrying the beer yet, and that was the problem. I showed up and said, hey, I got to go meet with this guy real quick. And there was another board member that was meeting with the HR guy. And so he showed up and I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And we started chatting. He was from 10th group. He's C210. I was A210. It was awesome, right? I'm like, hey, do you want a beer? Because I definitely want a beer. He's like,
I heard
yeah.
the voice
He's
too.
like, yeah, I definitely want a beer. I go, okay, well, and then I talked to Francis and I'm like, hey, can I get around, because we had multiple cachets of beer within the Green Beret Foundation. And so I said, hey, can I get through it? Can I get through it this way? Can I get through it this way? And she says, no, you got to go back in there. I go, well, luckily there's only one lion in the lion's den, and that's Roan, and
Did
we're
you
good.
offer the guy beer?
Yes, I did. I offered the HR guy a beer. The HR, he's more of a recruiter.
The HR guy.
Yeah, well,
You offered the HR guy a beer.
Look, if you show up for a meeting in the great state of Texas, and you're potentially going to do human resources work for the company that you're chatting with, right? Which Roan had set up, and that's great. Roan's another board member. And you show up and someone says, hey, I've got a Lone Star beer for you. It says, come and take it on the can, right? Would you like one of these delicious things of goodness? And you say, no.
I just put out a policy, no drinking at work.
Except, I heard there's exceptions.
Except when there's a fallen.
Or when there's a board meeting.
I never said anything
now we
about
have
a
two
board
exceptions.
meeting.
So we've decided in our office, Jen, we've decided in our office that there's two exceptions. And the first is infinitely more important than the second, but everything we do is for those guys on the wall.
Yes.
So, you know, I think they would want us to live our lives with fullest, and I think they would want us to come here and have a lot of fun and figure out a way to raise a lot of money for
families.
For the families.
And the guys.
Because, I mean, we struggle with this a lot, right? It's the quiet professional versus the silent professional. And you're supposed to be a quiet professional, not that cannot mean silent professional. And so problem is if you need to raise money and you need to take care of the guys, you have to get out there and
you know what they do, but the guys are doing well. I get defensive of the guys. I will always
be defensive of the guys.
I will always like fight with you guys and hate you, but I just love you. But I will say that the fellas have been helping out substantially, and this is how they do it. I had to do some, I guess, what do you guys call it? UW?
Unconventional warfare.
I had
from the official title honorary Green Beret.
I don't know.
You earned that. Yeah.
No,
that's this lady to my
anyway.
To my right.
Stop. So you keep interrupting me. You can't.
Don't use that as some sort of safety thing.
No. I know what I was gonna say. So a lot of our events, like our Green Beret Classics, our shooting events, these things, we set them up specifically, intentionally, so that guys can start getting out there without knowing that they're getting out there. It's time. Like, we put business leaders on teams and we put Green Berets on teams. And they will talk about what Green Berets do. They may not talk about themselves initially. They may not understand how to sell themselves in that role yet, but Green Berets are educators. That's what you guys do. I mean, honestly, to me, the best Green Berets are educators. And they will talk about and they will do something for their brothers. So yeah. I identified that as smart as I am, and put that to work, you know, like, and you guys do a great job with that, and it helps us raise money, and it still keeps the history and the traditions and what's important to you guys. It still protects that. There's nothing, you know, there's no SEAL stuff going on, and I'm not even say that, because I know a lot of good people that are, you know, guys. Yeah,
I love the SEALs.
I just like to razz them.
That sort of world, it wouldn't fly here though.
It's a stereotype that we're talking about. It's not. I know a lot of people that are awesome, the SEALs that are awesome, but that stereotype, it's not going to work here, and I would never want to have that. That's not what I do. I am here to serve this community and the best way that I can. And that's how I figured out.
But to raise money, you have to talk more.
They have to, because people want to touch the rock. They don't want to. They don't want to talk to me. Okay, You know what I mean?
Oh, don't.
No, they don't. Honestly, like it's not.
People
the same.
want to talk to you, but I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like they need to be in touch with the real deal. Okay.
What?
This is a funny thing. Are you gonna like edit this thing?
No, there's
like
going to be no
straight?
editing. We don't have time for that.
Okay, what are you doing this? When are you putting this
So
out?
why?
Oh my God.
So full disclosure. So I met Jen in the Dallas Fort Worth airport this morning.
I know.
I said, "Hey, are you close?" Like, because I said, "Hey, how about we go to lunch and then we'll come back and chat about something?" And you said, "Hey, I'm at DFW." I said, "Well, I'm at DFW." I was actually sitting in a high top at
Drinking?
McDonald's. No, I was at
God.
McDonald's. Jen, come on, for the love of Christ!
I don't know. You were in Texas.
It was 9 a.m.
I don't
right?
know. I'm just saying.
and so I was sitting at high top at McDonald's after ordering nothing, by the way. McDonald's should be more focused on nostalgia and the greatness of America and less on salads. That's sort of my take, but nobody's asking, so it's free advice, McDonald's, you get what you pay for. And I got this great note, and then all of a sudden we were on the same flight from Dallas to San Antonio, and then now fast forward a few hours, and here we are chatting about Green Beret Foundation stuff. So
we've come a long way, baby.
We've come a long way. So here's what I want to chat with about you now. The question is you could do pretty much anything you wanted in life.
Who? Me?
You.
Why are you talking about that? What are you going to do? Are you firing me?
I don't know.
No, oh God.
So you're sort of infinitely capable. You've done a lot in your career, and yet here you are running the Green Beret Foundation. And so why do you do it?
I've had times when I've really just wanted to give up. Honestly, it's been the hardest thing I've done. Sometimes I even say miserable, most miserable, but it's the most rewarding, okay? And there'll be a time when it's time for me to bounce, but I've treated it like a business because that's my background. And I don't know, I do it, number one, because of my husband. My husband is connected. That's the only reason I am where I am. So
condense his story as much as you want to tell and the inspiration behind that.
Okay, my husband, we both actually worked at Intel Corporation together. 9/11 happened. He decides to come into my cube one day. I mean, of course, I don't even turn around. I'm just like doing my thing, whatever. This is a long time ago. And he says that he's, what else? He says he thinks he's going to enlist. And I said, I didn't turn around at first because I didn't. And he said, he was explaining what he was going to pursue. It was the 18 X-ray program. And of course I was doing something, looking at bill of materials or whatever I did. And he explained it to me, and fast forward, I said, okay, let's do this. And we felt like we've always supposed to be where we were supposed to be. Like there's no regrets. So he was with third group. One thing led to another. He's, obviously made it through. 18 Delta, third group in Afghanistan.
So a Special Forces medic.
Yes. I usually explain that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Home base, Fort Bragg, and got deployed to Afghanistan with his team after 2+ years of training. Mm-hmm. And you were not living with him. You were
no, yeah. Well, we did.
There.
We did not. I mean, he was gone all the time. There was really, and I'm 100% support my husband. I don't care where he is. If I lived with my husband one day out of my whole life, it would be worth it. Do you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't matter. So I kept, and honestly, to be honest with you, I would have ended up probably transitioning over that way. But I had my career, I had a support system, and we don't have to go into that, but 100% support him. Anyway, end of the deployment, out on a mission, truck was hit with by an IED.
So that's a roadside bomb, improvised explosive device.
There's more interesting tidbits to this story, but I'm not going to get into it right now. Of how it built up to it. It's
Part 2 next year. We're going to get into all that. I guess.
It's
maybe.
very.
We'll have Roland on too. It'd be great.
Oh goodness. So ended up. He tells a story better because obviously he was there. But he ended up being blown up, traumatically lost the one leg immediately. And then by the time he got to Germany, they had to do, you know, the blast travels up the bone. So it kept going up. So he ultimately both legs above the knees. Lived at Walter Reed for about a year. That was interesting. People think, well, you know, and then you go there to rehab. Well, he was dying a lot of the time that we were here, you know, because these things are very complicated.
Good news. The good news was, and it takes an SF guy to tell another SF guy that is his junk still worked.
Yeah, he did. That was, why is that always the first thing?
Well, I mean, come on. Of course that's the first thing. Does my junk still work?
Did he already say that story or no? Is that a story that he told you?
I mean, that's always the first question you ask. Every guy.
Oh, I know. That's so weird.
Every guy.
So
he didn't even have to tell me the story. It's like every guy, does my junk still work? And
oh my God. Okay. Anyways.
So it can always be worse, and his junk still worked, and that's great.
Well, so we had complications. It stayed there. Anyway, the guy, he decided, you know, he went through some hard times. A lot of people are like, well, you guys just did great, and you just moved on and stuff. It's a struggle. It was always a struggle. It'll always be. I'll never get over it. I'll never get over my husband putting those prosthetics on every day. I'm never going to get over it. I'm not okay with it. It'll always hurt me that my husband, he decided one day through the complications of it all that he was going to train like anything else he did, like football, when he played college football, when he, whatever, what is this stuff called, cage fighting or whatever? Yeah, that stuff, whatever. And then when he went into the Army, and he said, yeah, I'm going to train, I'm going to learn to use these things. And he did, and he doesn't use a wheelchair, and he is an emergency room PA, and he worked in a serious, he's done it. So he's gotten close, the closest he can to being a Green Beret again without being a Green Beret. And so that's my inspiration. This guy is like, I don't know, he just does it, and he just doesn't say much about it either. Do you know what I mean? He is that guy. He's a quiet professional, and he's just a good dude. So he's my guy.
So and this is your inspiration.
That's my inspiration. But then there's other things too, because I could do things and then bounce out. But there's so many good people in the community, and just watching it evolve, like from a business standpoint. Take the emotion out of it. Okay, the passion drives you. It's the business aspect of figuring things out. Going through scary times when people are damn sick of hearing about the war. We don't have enough money. We're not the Navy SEAL Foundation. They have an endowment. It's shameful that we don't. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't. But they have their own struggles and different things. And we don't have that. We still have 60% of the casualties. We're still dealing with that.
Let's talk about this real quick. So 60% of the casualties of what?
Special Operations Forces.
So Special Operations Forces is the umbrella. That means Green Berets and Marine, MARSOC. It means Navy SEALs. It means Rangers. It means all of that. Delta Force, all of that. And as an umbrella, the Green Berets, the Army Special Forces, because they're synonymous, is 60% of Special Operations Forces deaths.
And injuries.
And injuries are sort of, we always forget about the injuries. I mean, I say we, you don't, right? But we as a people, we forget about the injuries, and we focus on the death, because it's an easier statistic. And I get it. We're not here to, it's just an easier statistic. But there's a lot of treatment that goes along with it. And oh, by the way, there's a direct correlation between death and injuries as a community. And so we have the lion's share, our community, of everything.
It's switched. We have the most of that and the least resources.
And the least resources.
So
that's why we fight for the community. And you know,
and that's why I blow up whenever I hear shit that I don't want to hear online.
Yeah.
With the gold stars. Oh, by the way, I ain't putting up with that. I ain't putting up with that crap.
All right, so you got to tell the fuller story.
What, the story?
The gold stars, yeah.
What
happens?
The story?
No, you don't have. Why? What makes you upset about online?
Oh, the online thing. We're going to actually say it?
You're going to say whatever you want to say. You are empowered.
Okay, so, well, I guess that goes into the Gold Stars. So, yes, financially, we try to support everything we possibly can, but there's another aspect of the GBF, and that's the advocacy. I wouldn't mentorship, but I wouldn't be so full of myself of.
I'm going to open another beer for Jen.
You're going to be so drunk. Stop. This is why I can't take like a structured approach to this. Damn it.
Come and take it, Jen. That's what it says on the can.
Anyway, no. A big part of what we do here is advocacy. And when I see something that I saw, what did I see? I don't even know if I can say it because I'm afraid I'm going to go to like
water it down, say something.
Okay, so
if this had happened.
No, I'm
soft rep. We're going to talk about soft rep. Let's talk about soft rep then.
Okay, yeah, soft rep. When I see
soft rep is an online news agency run by a couple of special operations guys.
Yes. So when I see something like that, first off, I didn't even see it.
So let's talk about what they did because we're going to bring it up.
Okay.
These are facts.
Okay, facts. I was contacted by many people when my phone starts blowing up saying, did you see, did you see, did you see? I don't know what they're talking about. I go and I check and I start to see and then I stop. What is a video that has been released by some of our own internal family friend, our people.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
certainly internal to the community.
Internal to the community. They release a video of our men being killed, gunned down.
This is the special forces guys who passed away, who fell in Niger.
Yeah, exactly. By the enemy's hand. So when I start getting contacted like that, of course, I had to think about it. I said, hey, I'm not going to say anything tonight. I'm going to think about this. I have to have a night, okay? Because I can't.
That's fair.
Because generally, I will blow, it'll be worse than what it was. So we have to take a stand on stuff like that, and we can't, even if it was someone that we felt like was internal to our own community. It's not right, and we are going to advocate for our Gold Stars or whatever. This case.
Oh, so the inspiration was the Gold Stars were not happy with this.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it, yeah.
I mean,
but yeah.
Which is understandable. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't want.
I didn't go into OPSEC on it. I could have went into OPSEC and the problem with OPSEC, but that's not what I do here at the foundation. I didn't mention a damn thing about that. My thing is, don't mess with the Gold Stars. Stay away from the fallen. Don't make money off of them. Don't do anything with them. Let it be. Unless you get permission from those families personally, you don't do shit with it. That's
so,
what I am.
So the big problem is when you put your logo all over a video and you distribute it and then you claim some sort of high ground of journalism or otherwise. I mean, there's a lot of factors in that. And it's
okay, there's more than that. Okay, so there's that. But then they took a very sacred thing. Dying is a sacred thing, period. When you die in defense of your country, that is very sacred. That's the problem I have with it, okay? That is a private thing. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So let's move on from that. But that's part of what GBF would do is advocate.
So what's the stance for in sort of advocation of I mean, how does GBF advocate in that specific instance?
Well, I made my statement. I did it on a personal level because I can do that. Obviously, I'm a wife of an SF guy. My kid is in the course right now. But I made my statement. I'm going to be bringing it up to the board. We'll do our best. To be honest with you, the best thing we can do is just not put up with it, not support it. Some of the stuff is not so direct action, like.
Which Green Berets are well versed in. And so, my position, and I support you, by the way, is there's the first two words of the place where you work are Green Beret. And that's the community that we serve and support. And so if there's something that involves Green Berets, then the Green Beret Foundation needs to have a voice. And you lead the Green Beret Foundation, and yours is the voice. And I'm happy to serve as a microphone for that or support you as we can. But ultimately, you run this, and your voice should be attached to that.
So I did do that. I did that 2 days ago.
Great.
So anyway,
I think we should do that for more, though.
That's a recent thing. But to be honest with you, we do other things. There's cases that I can't talk about right now that we're talking about with some of our guys that have been killed that we look at and we take time with because the Gold Stars ask us to do it, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? We spend time with it, and I mean, we're talking about kind of like more the darker side of it. There's a lighter side, I guess, of the Gold Star support that we do too. We support our kids.
Mm-hmm.
We make sure those kids, through one of the programs that we support is Gold Star Teen Adventures. We make sure that they have their network and they're close together, and they always have that. Of course, they're going to learn and they're going to meet other people and what have you. But there's something, just like you guys share in your sacrifices as Green Berets or SEALs and all the, SOF in general. These kids have a commonality, and we want to enable them to be able to be together and have that network. And so we spend a lot of money on that one too, and we're happy about that. We love that. I don't brag about that. Is that we take care of our kids too. So I think Gold Stars happen to be like one of my you'd think that I would be more biased and more focused on the wounded because my husband's wounded, but and we do take care of the wounded. We do. But I was always told to stay away from them. And I feel like there's some success there and that they trust me, and I'm not going to lose that trust. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've worked really hard for it. And I think I was telling somebody, I can't remember today because of this soft rep thing, is you have trade-offs. And these people have traded off what they traded off. And I'm not willing to trade off. Like no amount of money can buy that for me. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? People don't understand it, and I don't even explain it to them. They don't give it.
I mean, so it's words like honor and integrity and codes of conduct and stuff like that. And I mean, the communities. My personal take on this is I basically have a line in the sand where I don't criticize other SF guys in public because the community starts. If you go down that road, it starts.
What are you talking about?
It starts to
like
just in
example,
general.
Like an example.
Like you'll see a lot of sort of SF guy on SF guy, right? Like this guy went off and he reps a T-shirt company and he messed up on this one way that he posted this thing on. Something somewhere.
They do get critical. I don't know why we do that.
All of a sudden, it gets really critical and it just sort of becomes a downward spiral.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of special forces guys that work for and lead a lot of GORUCK events, and just in general, that's representative of a larger community. And so I do everything in my power to not directly take. I mean, I see stuff all the time. SF guys turn really political, or they turn, and I'm not talking about running for office. I'm turning about they turn really political or stuff, and I just find it's not productive as where my position is to get super in the weeds with that. And yet there's a lot of things that are going on that, talking about issues is different. And so I would not have published an article or a video, a live video, and it makes my stomach, it makes my stomach churn.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
And who did it? Who did it? That, it just hurts, I guess.
So look, the bottom line in this, and sort of bringing it back to the Green Beret Foundation, is that there's a lot of messy stuff that goes on out there. And
it's worth every minute of it.
It's within the community, and we have to have those fights within the community. And my point is you representing the Green Beret Foundation are an important part of that community and that conversation and that discussion. And so I think that we as the GBF should have a voice in that. And, this one is one that for everyone I've talked to, and I've talked to a fair amount of people, it's crossed the line in terms of what other guys are willing to do. And so, that's how we sort of write ourselves, which is how the community works.
I do believe that. That is a good statement.
So we're writing ourselves,
your own.
And that's always going to exist. And so let's transition really quickly. And I've never really asked you this specifically, so I want to
What are you going to ask me?
I want to sort of
on this.
Yeah, on this.
What a jerk! Why?
Don't be nervous about this one. So, how does the business side of the Green Beret Foundation work? Like at a very, very top level, right? It's a business. Nonprofits, by the way, are a business, and so how does it work from the standpoint of how does the Green Beret Foundation raise money? I'm talking about the top line, not because we sort of addressed the fact that, hey, there's Green Berets, there's families, there's this
all the
community.
things we talk about, the programs, and anybody can go to the website and see what we do and what have you. But the way it works and why it's, I've worked in 3 sectors. I've worked in several different industries for companies. This is a very complicated business. It's a complicated business no matter where you are in a 501c3, whatever it is, not for profit. But we are single brand. We are the Army. Not only just the Army, we're also single unit. Okay, those are obstacles for us. Even though it can be, it's great too. But
so what that means is that when you go to a corporate donor and you say, hey, we're this really small niche, they say, well, that doesn't apply to the whole Army, so I'm out.
Well, yeah, exactly. They want the broad stroke. They want to serve as much of the military as possible. And I understand that. You know, I get it. But what it is, and I've learned this a long time ago, is that say I was at Intel, okay, and I manufacture semiconductors or whatever I'm doing. I sell it and I get money, and that person gets they get the product. In a not-for-profit, you're going to your donor, your investor. I call them investors because they're investing us and they're trusting us. Okay?
God bless you for that. That's a great way to spend. That's a great way to.
So I mean, donors, I get it. But what they do is they're investing in and trusting you to do what you're saying you're going to do. And all they get back is the feeling that you're going to do what you said you're going to do. And it's a good thing.
Yeah, which involves your word.
Yes, it involves my word. So that is very important to me. Next, so there's that customer or consumer. There's 2 in not-for-profits. There's that one. Then you go over to the program side where the recipients. You need to get the programs out and the money out. I know there's foundations that don't do that, but we do. This is our lowest year this year because we've made some investments or whatever. 83% or 84% of every dollar goes to the mission. This is the lowest year. We have to get
the average since the inception is what, 88%?
Yeah, 88.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, yes, is in.
So in the nonprofit space, the percentage of programs and services, the money that goes to that is sort of the measure. And as far as are you efficient and are you, Wounded Warrior Project obviously got into a ton of trouble because it's in the 60s.
Well, I don't even want to get in there. We could do a whole other thing on that to defend them in a sense, but let's not do that right now.
Mike Winnington and Wounded Warrior has turned a corner in my personal perspective. They're actually in the same town we are. I know General Winnington.
Even before that, I have a different perspective, but we can talk about it. They were great to us, and it's not even emotional. It's a business thing. I can talk to not now. But so then you got to go over to your program people, and you got.
But it's better to be at 88% than it is to be at 60%.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You've got to really be careful with that stuff. It's really not a great measure because then you're trying to run your business to mold that percentage, that ratio, and you're almost like that's what you're doing all the time instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing, giving the programs. You're managing that ratio. I think, and I'm not going to get into this, but there's other think tanks and things that are going on to address that metric. And I believe it's right. We haven't come up with the solution, but eventually, hopefully, we will.
If there is a better solution, it will just be a better metric because ultimately you have to measure.
No, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think it's being measured. And I think a lot of people, it's not being measured the best way it can to tell the story. So over here, you have customer. Here's your other customer, your program recipients. You give them financial support, advocacy, whatever it is. And all you get back is a good feeling that you did what you said you were supposed to be doing. Okay? So it's really hard. It's a complicated business. It's a lot of politics. And we know I'm not good at politics, but
I don't know. I mean, you've got a pretty good reputation within the community. And I don't mean to even say pretty good. You've got a really good reputation within the community, and that means active and former. I guess I'm a former.
Yeah,
right?
you are.
She's got a really good reputation with me. So.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. You and Roland. So it's complicated, and you have to. A lot of people come into the business too, and they come in. Oh, I want to do good. I just want to do some good. They think they're like. I'm like, this is a business, okay? And we're going to be the best business.
It's not an art project.
No,
it's not. It's not a feel-good.
And it can cause trouble when people come into here thinking they're going to be working here or what have you. And they come in with a notion that it's something that it's not. And we are very small. Our people are actually overworked, if I were to say that. We kind of walk that line. I don't like it. But you do have to manage perceptions. You can't have a huge staff. We can't have people getting paid a lot of money. You know, it's just, you're never going to get rich here. You're going to be rich in your soul, not in your pocketbook. But
I mean, there are trade-offs. There's lots of things you could.
Just
I mean, you personally
could
go do things that will earn you more money, but those are trade-offs. And so. Last sort of chapter in this is what's sort of the future of the Green Beret Foundation. How can people help? You know, all of that stuff.
Okay, the future. So we've kind of we're gonna be 10 next year. 10 years old. What are we gonna do?
10's pretty cool. I don't know.
You've been around since the beginning.
I think we should. I know.
Remember when we were sitting on the couch and we have no money. And
I was just about to say, the first time I chatted with you, I was driving through the gate at Fort Bragg to come back on Fort Bragg, which was weird for me then. And you tell the story as I was sitting on I had no money. And
I was talking about myself. It was like we were both the same.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell are we going to do this?
Our lives have sort of paralleled each other.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm glad I know you.
Yeah. I don't know how did I reach out?
I don't remember.
GBF? There was a time when I sent a lot of notes to info at or team at, whatever it was.
I mean, we just started.
Yeah.
We were nothing.
I remember
we had
chatting,
no money.
it was like, yeah, you were like, yeah, cool, that sounds great. Right? I mean, here we are almost 10 years later.
And I don't know how many stupid ass challenges I've done too.
Oh, so we've got another one in April in Austin. It's a light. I'm doing it as a participant. I'll be right there with you.
Why are you doing it as a participant?
It's the GORUCK Tough reunion. It's a big one.
Well,
There'll be lots of people.
I'm so out of the loop.
You're out of the loop. You're not on.
I am.
all of the channel.
Well,
we'll go check it on your computer now. Actually, your computer's right there.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's talk about it. So the future of the foundation. We've kind of shaken out our programs. We realize we can't be everything to everyone. We do partner with a lot of foundations and a lot of different, even private companies, to get what we need to get done. We have our 4 programs where we try to make those 4 programs the best. Okay, and we're still doing a lot of work with Steel Mags. All the chapters are stood up. They're raising money. They're doing great things in the community.
So define what a Steel Mag is.
Steel Mag is a female that is. It used to be just the wives, but it's not. It's like moms, daughters, sisters of Green Berets.
Impacted by, yeah.
No, they have to be directly linked to a Green Beret.
Yeah, so, okay, got it. That's what I meant.
Like, I'm dead serious about that. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Per usual.
Yes. So the Steel Mags are all set up. They're doing great. We're working on a transition program still. I still can't believe how complicated it's been to build a program that's relevant for the guys. And I don't even think we're here. I think a lot of organizations struggle. I talk to, lots of them. We're all kind of tight. But we're going to continue at it. We're going to chip it away and we're going to keep doing it because that's what needs to happen. As for the fundraising aspect, we are still going after our regional forward operating boards, which are ultimately, it's just really witty. Ron thought of that.
Yeah.
And he's so smart.
Ron's a witty guy.
He's very witty.
He had his fox hunting jacket on today.
He's fancy. Yeah. So yeah, he did that. Which ultimately are chapters. We have our first legal formal chapter in Cincinnati, Ohio, with Grand Wesleyan.
By the way, I got to get there. You know, I'm from just
I
north
know,
of there.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I go there every year, multiple times.
And yeah.
Go to a Reds baseball game. Cincinnati Reds, go Reds. Right?
So
nobody out there hates the Reds. You know why? Because the team's not very good.
So
it is what
that's
it is.
our first. We're really we just haven't done the legal paperwork in Dallas. I'm working on Houston. Houston's got a great. Do you know how many SF guys live in Houston and are at Rice?
No.
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Like everywhere. I love it.
So this is sort of the SF model, the Special Forces model, though, of creating sort of chapters and localized communities that are empowered to do the work for you.
Yeah, so they'll do their events. They'll also help with the transition for the guys that are transitioning to that local place. And we're trying to do certain things really well. Shooting events, golf tournaments, which we love. We do that. What else? And you're supposed to be doing a shooting event. I'm going to call you out.
GORUCK leads 160 shooting events a year. If you want us to help produce 1 or 50, just let me know.
Okay.
We also do a lot of rucking events. Last I heard, we did all right with some rucking events for Green Beret Foundation.
I will say, but that's not a new thing. I mean, that's a new thing. Like right now, you gave us almost $122,000.
No, not me. It was the
community.
GORUCK community.
Well, no, I know that.
It's awesome.
The GORUCK community has actually been the engine behind GBF a lot of the time.
People want a great cause to support. They just want to know what that great cause looks like. And then, important in the nonprofit roles, they want to know that
it goes to the right place.
It goes to the right place.
We're very transparent here. You know why? Because I got to look at myself in the mirror and I got to be okay. I got to look at the gold stars, and I got to be able to look at myself and not embarrass my husband more than I already do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about my husband. So anyway, enough about that. But so we're continuing to expand our events. We don't get corporate sponsorships very often, like on a national level. They do help us.
That's not going to change.
It's kind of rough. So, but the events. That's where it's at. And
more events. So if you're out there and you want to spearhead an event, it's kind of like chewing broken glass for 6 months or 8 months to try to get your friends.
Don't tell them that until it's
No, I'm going to manage expectations because within the GORUCK community, we like to choose really hard things and know that they're going to be really hard. And there's that feeling of anticipation prior. And if you want to spearhead that, it would be different from a traditional GORUCK event from the standpoint of...
And it can be small, too. Like, I've seen a lot of people doing some smaller events that have raised substantial amounts of money.
It's kind of about who you bring, right? And look, I mean, SF is sort of all about being elite without being elitist. And yet, at some point, there's this fine line between, but you need people that can raise money. So we're happy to take the populist movement to the people and say, hey, do a ruck, pick your distance. I got my patch on my ruck somewhere in the other room. But from the last one that we did this past year. And
my mom, do you know my mom and my mom is into your whole GORUCK. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? She's like, no, I do all these things. I'm like, oh my God. And she has all these patches. And
my favorite part of the whole time we've been sitting down here, your mom's in the whole GORUCK thing.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I'm like, where have I been? She's like, I don't know. I'm just busy doing this stuff.
That's so cool.
With the patches and everything. But anyway, there's all kinds of ways. I mean, if your company wants to match, like they match, there's corporate matching. We do that. We do all kinds of stuff. So
look, it's really hard work to manage and run a nonprofit. I mean, the SF community is and should be grateful to this lady sitting to my right. Stop. It's okay. You don't have to interject anything after that. The second part of that is that we're really happy to support the mission, and it's really important what the Green Beret Foundation does. To sort of summarize, 60% of special operations casualties come from this one community. Everyone says special forces. Not everything is special forces, right? So this community is Army Special Forces, the Green Berets, and I've called it for a while the workhorses of special operations. And that's just, by nature of how many deployments there are and how many casualties there are, how many injuries there are and how many people that affects. It's a lot.
Like, hey, this is what I was just thinking of. And then we're going to have to stop because these people are like, they haven't had 2 beers or 7 or 12. How many have you had? 12?
2 or 3.
Oh my God.
No big
I would
deal,
be so
Jen.
drunk. But what I was going to say is...
Well, I mean, what do you weigh? Like 90 pounds?
Listen.
Like, how do you thrive? You're so awesome at GORUCK events. You got a great attitude. You always carry the weight. You're like 2-3x your body weight, just moving it like a boss.
Irish. I'm Irish.
All right, what else?
Okay, no. What I was going to say is, I mean, remember, you knew Tej when he was little.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and he did his first...
Yeah.
Now he's at Fort Bragg. I mean, this is not rare, too. My family's not rare. We're seeing generations in this situation. Are we allowed to say war?
Yeah.
Okay, we're in this war. 17 years. Going on 17 years.
Yeah, so her son did an event.
Tej.
Hi, Tej. What's up? Her son did an event. It was with General Champion. God bless that man. He's awesome. Love you, champ. He was the first director of the board chairman of the board at GBF as well. And so
dear friend of ours. I mean, he's just family.
Dear, he's awesome. And his family's anyway, Tej and Jen and Champ and Grant, Champ's son, who's a Dallas police captain. Anyway, God bless those guys as well. He's had a rough go of it the last little bit with some Dallas police stuff, but they were in a class in Dallas. What was the class in? Like 120?
B Yang. We're still friends.
B Yang.
No, it's 281.
281. Okay,
281. B.
Right. So there was a class, and it felt like a GORUCK challenge. It was awesome.
It felt like a GORUCK challenge.
Felt like a GORUCK challenge more to you than to me, right? But it felt like as a cadre, it felt like and there was just a lot of great people there.
I've done so many, and
Tej was there, and this is a long time ago, and now. You fast forward, how many years has it been?
Like
6 years? 6, 7 years. And now he's in the Special Forces qualification course. And so, that's great. People want to go and serve America. America's best and brightest and our youth.
Point
they want to serve
it's
America.
not stopping. It's not
stopping. The wars aren't stopping, but neither is the desire to serve. And so...
Thank God we have the guys like you guys that run towards it. Do you know what I mean? Like, when 9/11 happened, these guys were like, I'm going. Without a thought,
Yeah.
then it just keeps going. So, anyway, I don't have to get into that. But
it's
awesome.
Well, you can expect a lot of more stuff between GORUCK and GBF to help support the guys. It's really what it's about. I mean, without the guys on that wall, without their sacrifice, without the community, there would be no GORUCK. Without my time in Special Forces, there would be no GORUCK. And so I'm really grateful to still be a part of the community and to be a part of what we're doing at GBF.
And you've been part of it since the beginning because you're kind of downplaying it. He's been giving the rucks since that's all we could do at first. Remember?
Yeah.
The rucks have been going to the wounded since we opened the doors of my house.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you've been involved as long
we will always support the community.
Yes.
We're at a point now where, luckily, I feel like it mirrors GBF from the standpoint of you feel like you can keep the lights on, and then you just gotta kind of focus on growth. You gotta focus on growing the mission and stuff like that. So, look, you can expect a lot of support from us.
We're not going to get a divorce.
There's no divorce. All right. You got anything else?
No.
All right. That's it. We're going to go, Jen and I are going to go drink 100 Lone Star beers together. It's going to be awesome with the rest of the board of directors.
And some SF guys are showing up.
Yeah. Well, the board of directors full of SF guys.
Not them, though. Not them.
So it says, come and take it. That's what it is. If you're in Texas, go get some Lone Star. The cans are awesome. And it's been awesome to hang out with you. Love you too.